Good morning, you guys. I want to bring you guys a review of Ladies Who List, Season 1, Episode 5. Basically, we found the ladies at a point where they're actually trying to make amends. Kiana is actually celebrating the release, in other words, the launch of her new real estate firm. She basically invites Crystal and Robin on the strength that they will not argue. Crystal and Robin actually see each other. They actually had a conversation. It basically was basically about what went on and who was right, who was wrong. They did not argue. They basically just ironed out their differences. Tiara to the point where she basically has made amends with actually Robin, which was something we didn't see coming because on last episode they were actually at odds. They were arguing, bickering back and forth, so they actually made amends. Kiana's to the point she's very glad about that because she was letting all the ladies come on the stream, just like she said. Nobody came with any type of drama. Tiara's to the point she's actually showing a unit. It is actually listed for 2.6 million. She basically is showing it to a former NFL player by the name of Keon. He's to the point where he actually likes the modern lifestyle and the modern upkeep of the actual home. According to him, it will be his bachelor pad. She basically lets him know that she's selling it for another person who's actually an engineer, who's actually did all the groundwork for it. She's made the home more modern and it's very, very nice. The price point is 2.6 million for 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. He's to the point he actually feels as though he likes the space, but later on he calls her back and lets her know that he would consider the property, but it would have to be lowered at a lower price point of 1.9. She basically goes and speaks to the actual engineer at that particular time, and she said that she couldn't let it go for that price. Then they actually came to an agreement, and they realized with the state of the market, they could do a $50,000 decrease. And she said she would do it at 50,000. She couldn't do it at 100. Now she said the average person would think something's wrong with the property. It's not there's nothing's wrong with the property. It's just that it's been on the market for a while. And she was hoping to that Keon would close the deal, but Keon told her that he would do the 1.9 million if she could find something for him in that price range, and she assured him that she would. Basically, we're to the point where Crystal and Kira are still having their second meeting, but Crystal throws a monkey wrench in there and lets Kira know that she actually was asked by her actual potential mate if she wanted to be in a polyamorous relationship. Her response was she would go to the poly party. I personally have never heard of a poly party, but she was saying that basically it was a party where nothing sexual was actually going on per se, but everybody in the room would be sexually fluent. She asked Kira if she would be to the point if she would tag along and go with her. Kira basically has to clear her throat, which I thought was funny. She basically was like, I don't know, but I'll give you an answer. My thing is, I'm thinking she's not going to be open to something like that. Now we're to the point where Crystal and Robin are trying to make amends. I think it's one of those things where everybody wants to be right. Nobody wants to admit that they were wrong. I think where it went left is just like when she had the conversation with her dad, Crystal did. She basically told her dad that she said the word trigger and she think that's what triggered Robin. My thing was like, yeah, duh. I think the fact that she kept screaming that out in front of everybody, it made it seem like she was trying to not only make Robin look bad, but she was trying to make it seem like she was, in other words, she was bothered about everything that came out of her mouth. Now, when Crystal was to the point where she went to her actual shrink, she made it seem like Robin was just like a nutcase or something like that. No, it's not that. I think it's one of those things where Robin, true enough, was triggered, but she didn't want her friend to blurt it out and baby just, in other words, throw it in her face. Now the ladies are to the point where they finally meet up. Like she told her, you had 21 days ago that you could have spoken to me. Robin's rebuttal is that I did not have you blocked as far as phone numbers are concerned. I think it's one of those things where they, just like her and Kira situation, they unfollowed each other. And I don't know what it is about these women unfollowing each other, but it seems like a big deal. But I think the launch of the new firm actually was a great thing for Kiana. She was to the point she was actually able to let the ladies know that she had accomplished something, and she had, like she said, this was her first year in business, so that was a milestone for her. She also goes and sees a infertility doctor who basically lets her know what her status is. She basically goes over the history of the fact that she did have complication when it came to conceiving. She said they actually went as far as to go with a prior fertility doctor where they had paid for the IVF and everything, and they realized that they did not take her husband's sperm and freeze this particular sperm. So it's one of those things where they basically had to refund the money. Now the new therapist lets her know that it's a ticking time bomb. You know, it's not to the point that a woman of a certain age needs to be conceiving kids because according to her, the eggs are deteriorating. My thing is, I don't know if Kiana has a issue with having babies, or is the issue if she can carry a baby to term. I don't know, but she expresses the fact that she wants to have a kid with her husband because, like she said, she already gave birth to one baby, and that was her actual real estate firm. So the idea was that a year or two after that she was going to have a baby, and hence, like I said, just told you guys, she had an issue with that actual fertility doctor. Uh, it really is to the point where she's basically triggered later on because they actually gave us a behind the scenes of the next episode where she has a falling out with Robin because she feels like Robin is coming for her when she's talking about women that can't have kids. And Robin basically tells her no, it was not in particular was meant for her. She was just speaking in general. I didn't know Kiana was that sensitive about the baby issue. I just assumed that she had children. But I guess one of the things where she's at where she wants to be in her career, so now she wants to be a mother. So the husband says yes, he is keeping track of her actual ovulation and her periods. So I'm thinking they're really, really trying to actually become parents. So, like I told you, the price point was really, really great. Robin also meets with another guy by the name of Tim. He actually has a loft space that he actually, as I say, flipped. He bought it for 380K and he wants to sell it for 1.5 million. Basically, Robin lets him know that she needs to come down to maybe 900K, maybe 1 million. She would be able to sell it. He actually walks her around, and the property actually is gorgeous. The upgrades are immaculate. He has a lot of modern twists to the actual loft, so you can basically know. Give it here. Give it here. That it will sell. So it's not one of those things where it won't sell. You can tell that he's put a modern twist to a lot of things. He's upgraded the kitchen area. He's also added a couch in the bedroom. It was like a more modernized leather type couch, but it was the length of the actual wall. So I think it was really nice. He also had a great balcony, which had a beautiful view. So I'm thinking that whoever gets that home would be really, really great for them to actually, show off, especially as far as parties are concerned. So yeah, she told him she assured him that yes, she would be able to not only sell the property, but whoever sold the property would, in other words, bought the property would really get them a great investment. I really agree with that, and I think yes, that is true. But in retrospect, if he gets Robin to exercise his property, more than likely it will get sold. Because Robin was to the point where she had a lot of condos that she actually was selling anyway. So Kira is actually a luxury realtor as she's pinned on to be on the show. Kiana has the firm, and like we say, Crystal is actually the closing attorney, and Robin is a broker. So everybody has their own niche, as they say, and everybody's good at what they do. But I haven't heard anything with Robin as far as bringing the ladies together as far as a group setting is concerned. So I don't know if it's one of those things where she got a bad taste in her mouth or she's just going to wait for time to talk about it. But I've noticed that Crystal is having a lot of secret meetings with Click Kira. She's trying to basically get Kira to actually, go into business with her. So I don't think it's one of the things where Kira is ready to leave Tiana. Tiana is to the point. Tiana and her are very, very close. So I don't know. Now, Tiana, if you're not familiar with Tiana, is the one I just told you about. The actual was trying to close the deal with the actual retired football player. So all these ladies are basically doing what they do, and they're actually showing you what it is they do. So it's not one of those things where they're not handling business, but when they get after hours, they get together, they kiki, so it's a lot going on. But I was actually glad to see Kiana actually be able to bask in the moment of her new business. because when episode one came, she had a little issue where she basically wanted to speak on the fact that her and Robin started off on bad terms because Robin was trying to withhold the actual documents. In other words, she wanted Robin to hold the documents until she obtained her license. And according to her, they had an argument about an actual money figure. She basically was saying that Robin wanted her to pay $500 per client, and Robin was like, "No, that was the flat rate." My thing is, they were arguing over something that really all they had to do was pick up the phone and ask each other about it. I don't know if that's basically just something for the storyline for the show or not. I don't know, but it was a big issue for these girls. So it's to the point they basically come a long way. They actually able to be in the same room, and Kiana extended the olive branch. She actually invited her, but she was a little nervous about Robin and Crystal being in the same room because she had already told her. She said, "If you have drama, leave it at the door." She said, "This is actually a formal event. We're at the Westry, and I actually want it to be a great wedding. I'm not wedding, a great event." Now, the actual ambiance was nice, and most importantly, the food setting was actually great. So, Robin, to the point, she actually complimented her on that, and she was like, "Well, thank you." Like she said, if we're going to be to the point we're going to go over the top with this thing, we don't want a lot of drama, which I can understand. But it's one of those things where Robin says she could not wait to actually address Crystal. Uh, Kiana gave it a side eye, like she was saying, this is not the time. But I think it's one of those things where they were going to actually sit down and talk amongst themselves as grown women. They were not going to argue at each other. So we're going to see how it goes. They gave us a sneak peek at the end. So I think we'll see the final rap session on the next episode. But yeah, you guys, this episode was actually great. I actually enjoyed it. I like the fact that I could see the women in the actual element, which is selling real estate. The actual fact that they come through and have a little drama, that basically is what it is. You're going to see that, especially around women. It's not the fact that nobody's fighting or doing and throwing anything. They're basically having a honest conversation, as I say, and they're actually, conversing back and forth. I mean, everybody has their opinion, and you have to be grown enough to understand that it's their opinion. They're entitled to it. So it's not a point of whether who's right or wrong. It's a point of whether or not they're getting their points across, and everybody's being heard. So I appreciate that coming from the ladies because you can see they're not only professional, but they know how to articulate and talk as well. And I like the fact that Crystal was able to iron out her grievances and let her in other words, talk to someone that she was close to, and that was her dad. He was in town. He basically letting her know that he had a property there that he was actually gonna flip per se, and he was going to rent it out. And she was asking how much he was actually going to rent it out for, because he said he was going to split it in twos. He had a top and a bottom. So she asked him how much the mortgage was, and his answer was very impressive. He said, no, it was paid off, and he was just going to flip it. And I was like, wow, that lets you know where she gets her real estate. In other words, her real estate, since of real estate, if that makes sense. In other words, her judge for the real estate. Her dad, her dad is great at that type of thing as well. But we're going to be to the point we're going to see what these ladies progress to, and I think their progression is going to be great to see on camera. I can't wait for the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll be bringing you guys more reviews of this actual show. And if you're to the point where you can actually go back and look at my last review, I just did another review yesterday. Go over there and check it out. Leave me a like and a comment. And if you're to the point where you're new here, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great Saturday.